So now, 15 minutes of a CIO perspective. And I will talk about the bad things. Not only the bad things, but some of the bad things. So please forgive me, my beloved Everest guys and girls. So, an example, just to set up the scene on which we will be talking. We have the Everest project, the Agile project that we have with 20-something, sometimes more teams, roughly 400 FTEs, etc. And on the other side, this is the waves, this is the Agile thing, yeah? And on the other side, we have the pier, the concrete pier, the 200 years of legacy, of history of an insurance company, as solid and as sure that we know better as you can imagine. So only on projects, which we have about 50 per year, we have 400 people and another 400 people in various operations and business. So this is a solid piece of concrete. This is something that is very resistant. And these two things, this project and kind of the whole organization, we are serving about 20,000 people and we have millions of clients. Not an easy place. So what you have been talking here and what generally speaking everybody talking about modern agile methodologies moving forward, it always looks nice. There's always a seduction in it, yeah, because it's better, it's faster, it's efficient, yeah, it's self-learning, people are happy, there is ownership. It always looks very nice, and it works. You know that it works. This is why you are here. But it's a seduction. It's something that looks nice. There is the other side. This is how it might be seen. Don't get upset. This is how it might be seen from the other side. It's a little bit chaotic. You have a mass of people that are doing something. Nobody really knows what and how. They say that they will do something and the specs will be coming later. They kind of do the changes all the time. They say that the change is an fundamental element of everything. They are mixing the roles of IT and business. Come on, what is this? And even worse, that was something that in our company was unfortunately the case. Well, people suddenly will do what they believe is the best. You give the freedom to people. Well, if you see some of these elements, some of these comments coming from your companies, then you are not lucky. If you have not seen them, then you are very lucky. We had all of them. All of them. So let's start one by one, and I will try to just tell you what we did, not completely successfully, but somehow successfully, to overcome them. Of course, a project is a journey. You want to move somewhere, you want to get to somewhere, and something that looks from the outside in a complete anarchy way, where you have teams that are measured, but they move in small steps, and they all the time move that we are doing only what we are learning. That's not always very well seen from the perspective of the big organization, of the guys that are expecting plans. You need to communicate the plans, you need to communicate the roadmap, you need to tell them that there is a plan, that we are following something, that this is not just a, I'll say, a chaotic movement from place to place, but that there is a way. It's not very clear, it might be difficult, not all the curves are clear, but you know where they are. The documentation. Well, We are coming from an organization where before you do anything, you spend 7 months of doing requirements, then 7 months of analysis, then 7 months of design, then 7 months of coding, then 77 months of something, and then you have something. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know how did we manage to persuade our majority of our guys to actually skip some of that documentation. But we did. It's a difficult task. It goes step by step, but it goes. You will be judged by the effects. If you will be able to provide the actual outcome, the guys will start to trust you and will get a little bit less anal about getting all the documentation. Another thing, change. Well, this is something that our CFO is always raising. Change is expensive. Well, yes, exactly. He would prefer to have the long stack of documentation to be ready, but he needs to understand that the other method, step-by-step adaptation, learning what is needed, selecting only the most important topics, is actually better, is actually cheaper. That needs to be explained. What I just saw on the previous presentation, this is exactly the type of approach that you need to go. It works well. If you can prove that your apparently incomprehensible method is better, then you can move forward. Now, this one, that's something that we also have heard as an interesting one. It's IT was always doing the systems. Yeah, we are the guys that we are supposed to do the implementations, the rollouts, etc. And now suddenly you have these big teams in which the responsibilities blur. How come? What is this? How can you let go on responsibilities of IT? Where you can. You can. Once again, by delivering, by showing commitment, by making sure that you actually care and you actually deliver on time and within the budget, you show that this is the better way. But you need to show that nobody is skipping any responsibilities, but it's more a joint effort. That this is something that is working together, is coming not from one side, not from separately business, separately IT. And something that unfortunately in our company was also the case, actually people are supposed to deliver what somebody else is telling. You have seen that in the, let's say, old times, IT is just the deliverer. You just code what you are supposed to do. Well, actually in certain cases in our organization that was the case. Now, it's a relief, it's a complete relief and a complete new way of working when you actually give the responsibility, you give the freedom to choose to people, and the result is completely better. Now, how do you overcome this one? That's also difficult. That's also difficult. You start with engaging people. You start with the teams that till now were the most focused on I order, you do, and you engage them. You get into interactions. You do circles and circles and circles, and then suddenly you see that there is a connection between the teams that used to be on two separate sides of the barricade, and suddenly it starts to work. Suddenly it starts to click. Suddenly, somehow, the two sides decide that they can do the same thing. But again, measurements, again, responsibility, and again, the commitment is needed. People will judge you on the actual results and on commitment that that you are providing. So from my journey last 2-3 years, all the things that I was saying till now, so giving some freedom, giving responsibility, giving a longer term perspective, this is just the beginning. It's the enabling for people to actually take more responsibility. And the results will come. The measurements, as it was pointed earlier on, are very much helping in persuading the rest of the organization that it actually makes sense to free up people to do the things that are right. Now, question to you. From these points that I was mentioning, yeah, so the documentations, the very clear boundaries between the organizations, all of that. You see them less when you are implementing your systems, your agile methods. You still believe that this is an issue for you? Yes, no, which one is the most difficult for you? No? So you live in a very happy environment where you don't have a little bit hostile people that are expecting you to deliver things? No? No. Okay. Let me tell you one closing remark. From our perspective, with a very, very large organization and a very stable organization, and an organization that hates changes, an organization that would like to stay as it is, there is a moment when you know that you need to make the step. We did that step. We had a project which was an excellent driver for change, because we could separate a set of people, give them a certain level of freedom, I think good level of freedom. We could assign a very clear target, and we could let them do. That was the best possible way for us to actually demonstrate that this way makes sense. Don't hesitate to experiment. Starting the journey on small teams is good, but starting the journey on big projects is even better. It gives you the momentum, it gives you the strength, it gives you the visibility, and it allows you, assuming that you have as good people as we had, to really demonstrate that this is a much, much better way than anything else as far as development of software is concerned. So that's all. That was very short, very brief. Thank you very much.